Today it's a very special episode because we're talking about a very special legendary man, a good son, remarkable father, very devoted, loving husband, genius, engineer and pioneer, and above all that, a very honest servant, very generous giver. Engineer Nabih Youssef, he's supposed to be with me on this show 1 year ago. But back then I felt unlucky because he did not came to my show. But today I feel very fortunate because I am confident he's here with us in spirit. And to honor his memory, I brought these flowers from his reception. Let me welcome our guest today, Abuna Shenouda Ghattas. Hi, Abuna. Thank you for coming from Covina.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have Susie. How are you,
Hi,
Susie?
Mira.
I know you flew from San Francisco.
Thank you for
Thank you so
having me.
much.
Thank you.
And we have Habib Abu. أهلا بيك.
Thank you for having us.
Jean-Paul Youssef. أهلا بيك. I know you are an attorney and
I
the
am.
president of Nabih Youssef Associates. You picked the expression Habib Abu. And I am sure you are Habib Abu.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. أنا عارفة إن أنتوا تعبتوا عشان تيجوا. Thank you so much. بس first of all عايزة أعرف إيه أكتر حاجة أنت حاسس إن باباك موجود فيها, like how your father exists inside you right now.
My father, he trained a generation of us, not just me, in his ways of handling things, his ways of acting. So the way he's still present is with the people that he influenced, and he influenced many, many people. Because he was a very unique person. He was a very courageous person. A person who did not bend in his standards of how he would want to act or handle things despite the circumstances. So this is like, it was like an anchor being placed that dragged a lot of our behaviors towards him. And because we saw him succeeding and confident and able, no matter what the situation, he was respected by us. And as a result, he was followed by us.
Okay, great. There is one more guest. I wished if they are here, but we have a video for your mom. And I would love, المخرج, please, if you can show us the video for Madame Isis. هل الفيديو جاهز؟
أنا نبيه عمره ما زعلني.
بجد؟
أنا اللي زعلته، هو عمري ما زعل. أنا لو كنت زعلته في أي حاجة وأحس بنفسي على طول أروح سوري يا حبيبي أنا ما قصدتش، يقول لي ما فيش سوري بينا، إحنا حتة واحدة، إحنا بنحب بعض، إزاي تقولي لي سوري؟ إزاي؟ أنت فاكرة إن عمري أقدر أزعل منك؟ دي حياته.
أنا سمعت عنك كتير جدا جدا ومبسوطة إن أنا اتكلمت معاكي وفعلا عرفت إن كلام الناس كله مظبوط. أنا عارفة إن أنت عندك بنتين وعندك ولد.
لا أنا عندي 100 وأكتر.
100؟
أنا كل ما أدور واحد يقول لي أنا ابنه وأنا بنته، وده هو كان بيعامل كل العيال واحد، ولاده والغرب كلهم واحد. عنده ناس كتير قوي قوي ولاده.
حبيبتي ربنا يديك الصحة وتكملي بقى المسيرة بتاعته. جان بول، أنا خليت جان بول يوجه لك كلمة، عايزاكي توجهي كلمة لجان بول والبنات، تقولي لهم إيه؟
أنا شايفة جان بول ابتدى يقلد أبوه في كل شيء، يبان إنه هو جامد من تحت بيخدم كل الناس. أنا بطلب منه إنه يكمل حياته زي ما باباه كمل حياته.
طول ما بابا وانتي موجودين في حياته حبيبتي هيبقى احسن انسان يا ماما، وتشوفي اولادك واحفادك كلهم بخير وتفرحي بيهم. عايزه تقولي كلمه اخيره للناس يتعلموا من مستر نبيه؟
المحبه ما فيش غيرها، ما عندوش في حياته غير المحبه وعدم كأقول نو جادجينج، ما فيش كلمه.
لا تدينه.
لا تدينه. ودي من قلبه، يعني ما كانش بيشوف حاجة وحشة، مش بيمثل وأي حد يعمل حاجة غلط معلش غصب عنه وياخده بالحضن.
ياخدك بالحضن. انت قلتي عندك 100 ابن، انت دلوقتي 101. اوكي، ربنا يعزيكوا يا ماما، هبقى اسال عليكي. اوكي. Her words matches your words. She said he has like over 100, like, you know, of children. And you said he had influenced many, many people.
Actually, my dad always taught me this when he was always teaching me something. It was always very important for him that I learn everything. And one of the things he always used to say was, let's say within the company context, he would say his role was to be like a father to all the members of the firm, okay? And I definitely saw him kind of adopting this approach, okay, with everyone he would meet. He would meet somebody for the first time, and then you would see him doing crazy things for this person. And it didn't make sense. And many of us around that even would argue for, hey, let's be practical. Are we sure? Should we think about it? But he wouldn't think this way. That's what I mean when I say he influenced a lot of us in a drastic way, because his approach was so drastically different from what would seem to make sense. And in the end, Dad was always somebody kind of ahead in his thinking. And then a person that you would look back years later and say, wow, he was right. Wow, I shouldn't have argued with him. Wow, I should have listened to him more. And actually, this was a process of us reflecting and learning more, even from our mistakes, to see the differential between how we would have handled things and real time how he handled them, and without him having an example. So this is true. He did act like a father to anyone he would meet. He was a very caring type person.
Okay, actually great, but I have a very different question for you. Did you ever felt any jealousy because he's treating everyone like it's his own son? Sometimes?
Not jealousy as much as maybe concern. Are we really going to spend this amount of money? Are we really going to do this decision? Don't we have to think about things? Because he also had something very unusual, which was he would make decisions very quickly, on the spot, in every scenario. And I'm a careful type of a person, so I would like to think and to analyze it from every aspect and to have certainty in my decision. And he would immediately have a decision, and then he doesn't change his mind. So more concern. He was a man of very strong courage of faith.
Amin. I want to ask Susie, how he treated his team.
So I started with Nabih like 22 years ago, and he would respect everybody, from the youngest employee that we have all the way to principals. He treated everyone with love, kindness. He always had an open door policy. Like, you would never go to Nabih's office and you will see it closed. It's always open. Anyone is able to reach Nabih all day long, at night, by text, by calls. He was always available for every person.
Like
honestly,
a very busy man like
he was
that.
extremely busy,
yes.
but he still had time for all the other stuff in addition to work, the clients, the meetings that he had, all the job sites. Nabih was very hands-on. He wasn't someone that he would just delegate the tasks. Nabih would delegate, but then he would follow up. So it's not that he was just kind, but then very laid back. No, he wasn't like that. He was very assertive but loving. He didn't talk much. He's not someone who's going to preach you all day long. But just because there's something in Nabih that was really different, he would actually get the best out of everyone. He would know how to treat each one individually and how to get the best out of you to get the job done. And he actually did. He treated everyone according to what we all need. And it did honestly amazing.
Yeah, I heard the speech in the reception, and I felt that he really impacted your life and your even family life, not only your life.
He shaped who I am today. I always said that I've loved my dad, and God sent me another beautiful dad. I've lived with my dad as much as I've lived with Nabih. And Nabih, maybe from the second year, he doesn't trust people that much, but then once he trusts you, then that's it.
You're
and
part of
he
his
always
life.
told me, "Inti aktar min binti," and I think I've shared the same feelings with him. It's very mutual. I'm very taken by his passing because it's something I never wanted it to happen. And actually 1 week before his passing, I just prayed to God and I told him, "Promise me you're not going to take Nabih now. Just give me 2 more weeks so I can go and see him." And I'm glad that I was able to call him and to touch base with him every day. We would still joke. And he would always say, "You're bringing so much joy to my heart." But in fact, he was bringing me all the joy in the world.
It's very beautiful words.
I love him. He definitely impacted me. He shaped who I am today. He helped me raise my son. I always looked up for Nabih. I always told my son, "Look how Uncle Nabih does this and that." Not just professionally, but also in church. It's hard sometimes when you have kids to talk all the time about God and what God wants us to do. But when you have a real example of how Christians should be, I think it's a very true living example that we should be all proud of.
Of course, and I did not know him very well, but I have a great, I feel like he's very good father for everyone too.
Yes, he was.
Abuna, let me ask you this. I wasn't planning to ask you this question, but we always say that المنتقلين, they feel us and they are existing with us. They know how we are doing on earth, correct?
To some extent.
To some extent.
As
Okay.
God allows them to. Of course,
Especially in the first 40 days, correct?
all the time.
All the time,
Especially good people, they become. The work of the people who departed is to pray for the others. Intercessor place. Yeah, between them and God. For us to complete our race and for God to ease our trouble.
Yes,
So they are all there to pray.
of course. Yes.
A mediator between God and us.
So you told me you knew him 45 years ago, correct?
Yes.
So can you tell me first impression?
First impression, I met him 45 years ago, about 45 years ago, maybe a little bit more. He was working at that time in New York. Comes to church every 2 weeks. So they said he is the responsible about the service. I heard many things about him, but I found him, he's not walking, it's like hopping from here to there. Fast.
Very active.
Very
yes,
active.
Very passionate.
He comes to church not from the back door, from the side door, and enter to the altar. Nobody sees him, prays by himself. No one notices him. But in deep prayers.
Yes.
We worked along together. He had, of course, a special love to the youth. And once you know Nabih,
Yes.
you become a friend, a family, and he's responsible about you.
Yes. Wow.
True.
Yes, all the church, all the people in the church. As they said, he respected the ideology of everyone. You want to complete your work? Oh, how about if you take this course? How about if you
So he was
need
a
this?
guide,
Oh
yeah,
yes,
a guide.
mentor of everyone. Without even noticing, you find him is giving you successful ideas, trying to put your foot on the right step, and it comes natural. He didn't think about it, giving ideas, successful ideas, encouraging everyone to the way whoever. He didn't enforce anyone to be an engineer. I wasn't this way. Anyway.
I know you were an engineer.
Yes.
Okay.
So I wasn't a structural engineer, but I was electrical. So when we were talking, you know this, you do this, you know this.
He tried to mentor you and
yes.
guide you.
You know this equations. This is this how you do it, and introducing us, he introduced me to my work.
He was the son of Abu Nabshoy Kamel.
Of course, this is one of the great
That's
factors in his life.
Yes, Abu Nabshoy Kamel, yes.
And in many situations, he used to say this phrase: "I feel that Abu Nabshoy would do this and this. In this situation, Abu Nabshoy would do this and this."
Wow.
Abu Nabshoy was live.
Of
in his
course.
mind.
Me
course,
too.
I will
He's
show
my
you.
father too.
Has great impact of
Of
all the
course.
people he met,
Of course.
and he had a special love for Nabih.
For Nabih.
Yeah.
That's very.
أبونا بشوي, أبونا
أبونا
تدرس,
تدرس,
أبونا
لؤى.
أرسانيوس,
I'm sure. Yeah.
all the
أبونا
fathers
أرسانيوس, of
actually.
course. Yes.
All the
Okay. أبونا,
fathers.
that's very beautiful. أبونا, أكتر حاجة ممكن الناس تتعلمها منه إيه أبونا؟
Of course, let me say he was
A very giving.
love.
Love.
No, giving this apart. Love.
Love
Love
is
is a
giving.
big word. He loved to give. He loved to mentor. He loved to stay with people. He loved to laugh with people. So he had love for everyone with any kind. So when you feel him, sometimes he doesn't talk, but you feel that he cares. His eyes.
Yes, of
He
course.
cares. His concern. And if anyone in trouble, he feels it. And since he was a very shy person, so he doesn't approach people with problems. He sends somebody. He
Okay.
asks the priest,
Yes.
how we can help, how we can help, how we can get this person out of this. Can you help? Do you know him?
Thank you so much, Abuna. Mr. John Paul, I want to talk about some of his innovation. I know it's a lot. I was amazed when I was reading actually the black books you guys made. It's a fantastic book. But before that, I have a very small video for Nadia. She has a message for Giddo, and we need to play it, please. So if you have the video ready. الفيديو ماجد بعد إذنك بتاع نادية البنت الصغنونة. طيب لغاية ما الفيديو يجي. Okay.
I love you, Giddo, and I want to be just like you when I grow up. Thank you for everything you've done for the family.
You're She's so cute. I have a full interview with Nadia, and she was concerned when she's gonna watch her interview. So your interview will be released very soon. And thank you so much for Uncle John Paul, لأن هو اللي عمل كل الحاجات دي. He brought us to record with you, Nadia. Can you tell me the relation between him and the grandkids?
Oh, he was a pure spoiling grandfather. Okay, always with a candy for them or a treat for them, but also always with a lesson for them. And this was my dad. My dad was a teacher. Okay, my dad was somebody that felt it was very important. Okay, to always be imparting something to somebody in front of him. Okay, always a lesson. Always a way to do things in the right way. Always a way to avoid being too concerned for oneself, to be too worried about risks. Okay, it was as if risk didn't exist to him. He just always was courageous, always was hopeful, always was faithful. So this was something that was like a constant. If you would even bring up some concern about doing some good thing, it was almost like he was outraged at the comment. So this was really well.
Perfect. And I love this picture for you both.
Thank you. This is my engagement.
It's a great picture. So now I want to talk about some of his work. I love this book. This book is amazing. Okay, we have someone in the phone first. مين معنا؟ وائل. Okay, we have وائل. Okay, hello, وائل. Mr. وائل.
Hi, Mira, ازيك؟
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. And I want to thank you for the great speech you made in the reception.
Thank you very much.
Okay, تفضل.
أنا هتكلم بالعربي.
Okay.
مستر نبيه كان إنسان في الحقيقة بكل ما تحمله الكلمة من معاني. أنا اتعلمت منه كتير في الفترة القصيرة اللي كان ليا ساعدني الحظ إن أنا أشتغل فيها معاه. وفي الحقيقة كان a great person and teacher. يعني في الحقيقة أنا اتعلمت منه كتير. مستر نبيه كان يجي المكتب أول واحد ويمشي آخر واحد. وأسعدني الحظ في فترة من الفترات إن أنا كنت بروح معاه المكتب الصبح. فكان دايما يتكلم عن بركة ربنا في حياتنا. كان دايما يتكلم عن إن كل اللي عندنا من خيرات وأي حاجة بنملكها هي ملك ربنا. احد المواقف ان هو كان دايما بيديني ظرف مقفول كده، يقول لي خلي الظرف ده معاك وانا هقول لك نعمل بيه ايه في الوقت اللي هقول لك عليه. وما كنتش بعرف الحقيقه هو يعني بيديني الظرف ده ليه، فكنت باخده واخليه معايا واشيله، ولغايه ما في يوم من الايام كلمني قال لي حبيبي ازيك عامل ايه؟ قلت له انا كويس يا مصطفى. قال لي احنا هنحتفل بالكريسماس السنه دي. قال لي، قلت له هنحتفل بالكريسماس. قال لي لا انا ما افتكرش. قلت له ليه مثلا؟ قال لي علشان في ناس مش قادره تحتفل بالكريسماس معانا، فينفع نحتفل وفي ناس مش قادره؟ قلت له لا ما ينفعش. قول لي اعمل ايه؟ قال لي حبيبي الظرف اللي معاك ده افتحه وفي كذا حد كده هو محتاج يحتفل معانا، فممكن تبعت له اللي في الظرف دوت علشان هم يبقى عندهم فرصه كمان زينا ان هم يحتفلوا بالكريسماس. وارجوك حاول تبعت الحاجه دي بدري علشان يبقى عندهم الوقت ان هم يجيبوا كل اللي نفسهم فيه. ده باختصار مستني. كان في الحقيقه في كل مواقف حياتي وكان بيعلمنا حاجه جديده. كل يوم كنت بتعلم منه. دايما ابتسامته ما كانتش بتفارق وشي مع كل الناس في اصعب الامور. عمري في الحقيقه لما شفته متعصب او متضايق على طول سلام ربنا كان جواه، وكان دايما سلام ربنا اللي موجود على وشه وشكله وتصرفاته بيبقى عنده ليه امباكت عالي جدا على كل اللي حواليه.
اكيد. طيب شايف في جون بول ايه من بابا اكتر حاجه؟
جون بول في الحقيقه مدير جميل، واخد جزء كبير جدا بس نبيه، وهو انه بيخاف على مشاعر الناس. مشاعر الناس مهمه جدا عنده. فدي من اهم الحاجات اللي انا لاحظتها في جون بول من خلال تعاملي معاه 6 سنين. هو جون بول مديري المباشر في الحياه، انا واحد من الناس اللي بتعامل معاه تقريبا يوميا يعني. he's a perfect guy وزي ما بيقولوا كده هو اللي خلت ماتشي. he's reflecting his dad's image all the time.
Perfect. شكرا جدا استاذ وائل على المداخله. ميرسي.
شكرا لكم.
واتمنى ان انت كمان توصل لكل الناس الاكسبيرينس بتاعتك كمان.
اكيد.
شكرا. ثانك
كلنا اتعلمنا منه.
of course. شكرا. طيب John Paul, we have a book full of like great information, and I was amazed as I told you. So we have here like a second page. بيتكلم على some of the work of your father. Los Angeles, the J. Paul Getty Villa. Getty Villa, it's one of the most beautiful places in Los Angeles. And also the Cleveland Museum. He had a love for museum?
He did, yes.
Yeah? Yeah, I can see that. The art exhibition. Okay, this is the Getty Villa Museum, part of it. Very beautiful. Also the Skirball Culture Center and Dodger Stadium. That's huge. And actually lots of like buildings and stuff. What the most significant contribution he did in the structural engineer, in your opinion?
Within the field of structural
Within the
engineering,
field.
the science of structural engineering,
Yes.
The biggest impact he's going to have had was changing the nature of what it is to practice structural engineering from something that's very code-based, very prescriptive, to something creative, to something where innovations are embraced, allowed, and can happen in the real world. So prior to him and his founding of Nabih Youssef and Associates, practicing structural engineering was a very cautious activity. There was no real room for doing something new. You needed to do what was done before. You needed to follow exactly what the code said.
Okay.
He changed that
Yes.
by his credibility, which allowed ideas, innovations that came out of the minds of talented structural engineers to go into actual structures, to be built in the real world, and to show that these things can be done and can be done very effectively, very safely. And so this really changed what it is to be a structural engineer.
Okay, I wrote on Facebook that we are meeting with you today talking about your father, who was pioneer for to the earthquake, the earthquake for the building to be safe, and he saved thousands of lives. So can you tell me about this? Because I know Japan even, they try to get his help, right?
Yeah,
so can you tell us about that more?
Well, he did things that had never really been done before.
Yes.
Okay, so he, as a result, was able to make buildings safer than they were before. All right. So, for example, if you look at Los Angeles City Hall, it actually now moves in an earthquake. So it has what's called base isolation, okay, which allows it to be sort of separated from the earth in an earthquake and not be so brittle. And as a result, the people can survive inside. The city hall can continue operating. The people of Los Angeles can rely on the government officials working inside of it in a moment of crisis, okay? So allowing these things to actually come to fruition in the real world changed the building safety of the buildings that are subjected to earthquake forces. So this in the end will end up saving many, many thousands of lives, as you said,
Of course.
because we live in a region where there's
With
earthquakes.
Correct. Also, I heard a lot of people saying how humble he is, but a person with 1,000 award and recognition, how come he's not like proud of himself?
I think he feared God's judgment more than other variables, and he was very focused on that. Like I said, he was a man always kind of a little bit ahead of others around him, ahead of his times. So he was thinking kind of on a different plane than the rest of us sometimes, and that was something always kind of forefront in his mind. He wanted to do the right thing, so I think that's why.
Okay, so one more question, and then I will ask you, Susie. A field like that, and a powerful, successful man like your father, I am sure there was some enemies or people jealous of him. Did you find any enemies or jealous people for your father, and how he faced those people?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, when you have something positive, it will create envy in the world. And people will try to take those things from you, or to harm you, or to lower you to raise themselves. He had a very strange approach to these situations. People would tell him, you should sue this person who cheated you or stole from you or did this thing to you, or you should take this action, or you should say something publicly, and he would always refuse. He would say, let's not go down to that level. He was more focused on his own behavior, and he was never worried really about any outcome. He was very confident, very calm, and very faithful.
Wow. I asked someone, I tell you who I asked it before I come here, what do you know about engineer Nabih Youssef? He told me, the only word he told me the Bible was his best friend. Is the Bible was your father's best friend?
Oh, that's true. And not reading the Bible maybe the way other people, or even myself do. He would read like one verse at a time, and he would reflect on it, meditate on it, and think about it. And every time he reads it, it's almost like he's reading it for the first time. So he had a different kind of an approach to reading it.
Wow. Okay. So Susie, regarding the enemies again, did you ever see him upset or worried or raising his voice or?
Absolutely not.
No?
Like I said, I've
like
worked
you worked
with
with him
Nabih closely,
22 years.
22 years, and honestly, with all aspects, I've handled all Nabih's personal, and I've handled all his confidential and important stuff in the office. I have never seen Nabih saying bad words or getting angry at anybody.
Wow.
And things can sometimes make you a little bit nervous
Yes,
or
of
worried,
course.
but he always trusted that God is in control. He always told me, don't worry, I know we're seeing it, but God will solve it. And honestly, God blessed him abundantly, because he's done a lot of good stuff that really God took care of the whole company, employees. He kept the company running and very successful, and it's one of the top, and that's why you can tell from the funeral a lot of people came, clients
Like
came,
700 people
all over the world came.
Yes. True.
Clients came, and other people from the structural engineering. Some people that started with me 22 years ago, I've seen them in the so
Wow.
he's just so
The
much
relation
love,
continues.
but he's
yes.
never made it to a level that's any less than what he should
Then
have.
peaceful.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was a very definitely peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Okay, أبونا يعني في challenges in the world and he was very peaceful man, but we grow to be sometimes impatient. آخر مرة شفته إمتى and did you feel the peace exactly like when you saw him 45 years ago or he was a different person?
No, he didn't change much. He didn't change much. He's the same. One time I asked him, I don't know how the conversation came. He's a CEO in the company. They give lectures to in universities. One time he took me with him. He's always meetings. To how to fit the time, how you read for this, and he told me God is amazing. God is amazing. God sends me the material I need before I need it.
Yes.
I find article here, I read the magazine this, and I find myself God sending me the material that I need. God is helping me. God is always amazing to extend the hand of help. And he was doing the same to the people. He was trying to help everyone his capacity to succeed and to make his goal.
Amazing, Abuna.
Yeah.
طب Abuna, I want to talk about his service a little bit, but after we take Michael, I think we have Michael on the phone. Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Yes, sir.
Hi, yes, I'm Michael. Again, I was been with Nabih for 21 years. I helped build the San Francisco office when he opened up a San Francisco office about 25 years ago. And so I helped build and manage that office for Nabih.
Okay, and what lessons you've learned from him?
Nabih was a great mentor to me. He was, as others have said, he's very innovative and creative. He always, he was ahead of his time with regards to incorporating advanced technologies into buildings to be more earthquake resistant. He was, well ahead of his time on some of these technologies. He also thought, wasn't always coming up with the most conventional solution. He was thinking outside the box and came up with some really creative solutions to some, we worked on some pretty complicated projects together, and he was always kind of pushing the boundaries on thinking outside the box and coming up with creative solutions to solve the earthquake challenges we face here in California.
Yes, of course. And did you ever wondered how confident and calm he is, especially in the tough times? Did you ever ask yourself how he's acting very calmly or peacefully?
Yeah, he was always, he always had a...
Hello, Michael?
He faced a lot of adversity on a lot of
Sorry,
these
can you repeat last part again, please?
I said he was always very level-headed and always very calm when we were facing, some of these challenging projects, and he was a true leader in that regard. He kind of led, calmly and confidently, and it was, he was a real leader for the office.
And can I say he changed, or can you say that he changed your career life?
Oh, 100%. He was a real mentor for me. I joined Nabih a few years out of graduate school, and I worked with him for over 20 years, and so yeah, he totally shaped my entire career.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your call, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Same words as you used as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
It is really true. Yeah.
Perfect. I have a story. Someone told me a story about your dad a couple of days ago. He said, 40 years ago, that guy, he's a very wealthy man right now. He just came and he was working at gas station. And your father's car, خلصت gas front of the place. He just came from Egypt and he was just working there. So your father came and he said, I don't have like anything to put a gas on it. So the guy helped him with like a jar or something, and he put some gas. Your dad took the gas and he left to his car. A few days after, it was our Easter. So at after 12 a.m., something like that, that guy found your dad coming with lots of food. The guy said that time I was eating from sometime the garbage can. كان بيفتح الزبالة and he was eating from garbage can. And he said, with this very kind act, I will never forget you, Nabih. So I don't know, do you know this story?
I never heard this story. I've heard so many crazy stories since my dad passed away. It's been sort of a surreal experience. I worked and was so close to him for pretty much since I was born. We've been in so many scenarios together, and yet since he passed away, I've heard so many things that I had no idea about, could have never guessed. That is who he was as a person. But he was also a person that always wanted to be doing his good for the right reasons and not revealing them.
Okay, we have Ryan on the phone. Ryan, I think one of your colleagues. Hello, Ryan. Ryan, do you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, hi. Thank you for calling.
Yes, my pleasure.
Okay, can you tell me your own experience, personal experience with engineer Nabih?
I mean, where can I start? I've worked so closely with Nabih for over 20 years now, and he was such an incredibly powerful influence on my career, and just watching how he navigated project challenges, either from a technical perspective or a client perspective, it was a master class always.
And how long you've been working with him?
I had worked with him over 20 years. I started
20
in
years?
2003.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, I think there is something in the connection. Can we call him again, please? ممكن نقفل ونكلمه تاني? Yeah, let me call you again. Okay, until Ryan calls us. Okay, we have another call. Okay. Hello? مين؟ Max? Okay, please call him again. Okay, أبونا أنا عايزة أرجع على السيرفيس بتاعته because I just learned today he was involved and one of the founder of ACT School. And ACT School is a big school right now. Actually, they are our neighbors too. So can you tell me about this and also other schools?
And,
he had love for
education.
The foundation.
Education
Yes.
Foundation. As a matter of fact, he was doing this by himself. Since the 70s or 80s, he was watching young people, how he can help them, mentoring them, advising them at that time, and whoever wants help, he used to help, financial. Yeah, long time ago, without knowing. Yani he could, like Wael said, he used to give me an envelope and tell, hand this to this person. I don't know how to help this person, how to guide this person. And in a matter of very sensitive and loving way, he speaks to this person and how to get his life shaped. So the foundation, I think, was a desire in his heart since the 80s until it came to light on the 2000s, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although he was in the church board, he was Sunday school coordinator. And
he was teaching in one of the schools as well. Right?
He was teaching.
Yeah.
He was.
God have blessed his time and his life.
Yes, he loved how to guide people and how to not give a sermon, but give directive speech, nicely, calmly, to the point. He doesn't give an advice for a long time. He knows how to say a few words, and those few words, if the person take it seriously, it will change his life.
Oh, very nice.
Besides, he cares about Sunday school in general and how to get gifts
For
on
the
feasts,
kids. That's
on the
very
feasts.
nice.
And personally, he told me, spend, if you get the gifts, and don't worry about money.
Yeah, he was very generous. I know.
I'll pay you whatever you get. We used to have hard time in the church. Things wasn't
Yes.
that big.
Easy,
It was
yes.
small, but he was covering all the expenses. Always in summertime trips and
Yes.
and gatherings and all this
Yeah.
ahead of time,
He
before
always-
summer. Where we're going this summer? What trips are we getting? How we prepare, and we spend a lot of times preparing and putting programs and in his previous house. He came up with an idea at some time to build a house in Hollywood Hills, and this house was huge, and he had in mind that he could invite Sunday school class, servants. They said, and we did this. He did the house, was Olympic pool size, big basement, it was tri-level, huge house, and we used to spend time, a lot of time, till midnight days, and he has worked the second day, preparing programs and praying together and working ahead of time for things. For many years, all the 80s, until he moved to Santa Monica.
Very nice stories, Yavuna. I know there is unlimited stories.
Yes, there is.
We'll take Ryan and I will come back to you, okay? So we'll take Ryan. Hello, Ryan. Sorry for the... Do you hear me right now?
I can hear you just fine. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, perfect, Ryan. So you were saying that he impacted your life as well?
Yeah, I mean, incredibly so. You know, when I started working in the Southern California, Los Angeles area in 1997, it was a name and I hadn't started with Nabih's office. It was a name that I repeatedly heard over and over for the first 5 years of my career. And then I eventually joined in 2003 after going from a few different firms. And I realized that was where structural engineering at its utmost quality was happening. It was pioneered by his vision, by his incredibly intuitive sense about how to approach projects and clients. He had so many kind of catchphrases he would use to kind of teach us, his mentality and the way he was approaching things, where it was all about this symbiotic relationship of architecture and structure to work very cohesively. He used to call this the first order fit. And that was what endeared him to all of his architecture clients, and is what led to all of these very world-class, what we call architects, seeking out his opinion on their projects. This was like the Cathedral of Our Lady of Angels, the Skirball Center, LA Coliseum, LA Live, the list is on and on. Being a part of the firm, I was exposed to these projects where...
Ryan, can you tell me which project was the closest to his heart? I know it's all great projects, like it's amazing, but which one is the most close to his heart?
Yeah, that's sort of like asking him to choose his favorite child, I think.
Exactly, I know.
Yeah, but certainly the ones that are dear to his heart was, the cathedral downtown, the Catholic Cathedral. I think the Skirball Center held a very close position in his heart. And there's a common thread to these, that these are also very kind of tapping into his belief system in God and his religion and the cohesiveness of all of that. He certainly, became famous, I think, with his LA City Hall project, where he base isolated that tower, where a lot of people didn't think he could pull that off, so he was always kind of pushing uphill. I think those would be some of the three that he might say were his favorite if he had to choose.
Do you remember any last advice he gave you? I'm sure he gave you lots of advices, but last one.
He never really approached it that way, but I always took everything he said as advice. But I will say one of the things he would always tell me when I was worried about being able to deliver something or produce a design that was so technically challenging, he would just always tell me, you know, just do your best and always strive to improve. Always look to add value, and if you do this, the rest is God's plan, and that you don't have to stress about it. And so I always took that really seriously to heart, to just say, you just kind of always do your best and, you know, push as much as you can. That, you know, that's the best you can do. And, you know, it also pointed to his strong belief system and his faith. And I really sort of latched on to that faith in the way that I approach projects today.
Thank you so much, Ryan, and I want to wish you the best, and please take care of the company with Jean Paul, okay?
I will always do my best.
I trust you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's amazing, all these stories we share. So we have another phone call. I'm not sure. Mac, okay, hello? Mac? طيب معانا ماك ولا ناخده تاني؟ طيب ماك معانا، اوكي ناخد ماك عشان I have a very important question for Mr. Jean Paul. Do we have Mac? Okay, Mr. Jean Paul, I know you're an attorney. Is that true?
It is.
Okay, and I know you are the president of Nabih Youssef Associates 3 years ago. So you joined them 3 years ago?
Oh no, I've been involved with the firm pretty much my entire adult life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you're the president only 3 years ago.
A few years ago, maybe 4 years ago,
Okay,
something like that.
and how your like original career as an attorney helped your father company or legacy, let's say?
Well, you really go to law school to learn more how to think clearly. So I practiced law at a large law firm called Melvin & Myers. I practiced corporate law. And yes, of course, I use the kind of core technical legal skills and everything you do in business. But also, I think more important is I grew up in the firm. I was working in the firm, you know, when I was in high school, taking the bus from Santa Monica to downtown. So it was really, I think, more that influence is more useful to me.
So you're taking a bus? You did not had a car?
Oh, yeah, when I was in high school.
Oh, you were in high school.
My dad believed that it's important to work.
Okay.
So
your dad did not bought you a car when you were in high school? Because that's very important. I see kids fighting with their dads to buy them a car while they are in high school. So can you tell me your father approach?
He believed in a suit and tie to go to work, wake up at 6 a.m. As a teenager, okay, get on the bus, ride the bus for 2.5 hours in those times, okay, and when you get to downtown, those buses are very unpleasant, let's say.
I know, it's crazy there.
Yeah, and then work hard, okay, don't waste any time, okay, it was very important for him to be efficient with time, okay, and then go home.
So he taught you the hard way.
Oh yeah, he believed in doing things the right way. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I really like that. And we have Mac again in the phone. Hello, Mac.
Hi, Mira. It's Max Benan. How are you? How is everyone?
Hi, how are you?
I want to offer my condolences to JP and praying that God give you and the family comfort and peace.
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to very quickly take a minute and not to speak so much about Nabih's accomplishments, because I'm sure so many people spoke about that and a lot of stories that we all experienced with him and lived with him. But there's one thing that is very impactful in Nabih's life that I myself experienced, which is how passionate and how personal he was with everyone, including myself. From the moment I met him, and I was in the beginning of my career, and throughout my relationship with through service or the times that I spoke to him one-on-one, he was always very personal, very interested, and very passionate about everything he did. And that impacted me in a way that it affected my life throughout my career and my personal life. And that is an example of a force of change. So to me, Nabih was changing lives of people that he interacted with, making his own life a force of change. And I myself reflected on that when I heard about the news. The first thing that came to mind is how he impacted so many lives in an indirect way, in addition to, of course, his service and all the direct ways where he impacted lives. But in his daily life, in his interactions with people, he was able to leave a mark and impact their life. I reflect on that, and I pray and I work on making my life the same way. And that's another way of changing the lives of other people, is to imitate an example, is to follow a role model. So to me, his life is worth celebrating. I don't think about him as someone who passed away. I think about him as someone who is going to continue to make an impact through the people that he impacted. So that force of change is something that never goes away, never vanishes, never ends. And I hope that a lot of people become that way in their life.
Thank you so much, Mac. Incredible. You did not work with him, but he impacted your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think he did with a lot of people.
Thank you so much. Do you want to say something for Mac or ask him any question?
Max, thank you, and really, we appreciate your sentiments, and that you carry on the memory of the good things that he taught all of us.
Thank you so much, Max.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Very nice. And we have Ellie on the phone. Ellie? I know Ellie, one of your colleagues as well.
Yes.
Ellie, are you there? طيب لحد ما Ellie يجي. Every teenager, I know there is like some rebellions. How your father guided you through your rebellion time, very thoughtfully.
I think it wasn't maybe so much about like rebellion as opposed to being willing to accept some very difficult standards.
Yes.
It was like he was divorced from any kind of like practical considerations that one may consider. So he would be almost disgusted, let's say, if you said something bad about somebody. Okay, or if you brought up some arguments to convince him to not do some good deed. Okay, he would be very upset. Okay.
So you tried to do that before?
You would sometimes see the things he does and
it's too much that.
Be concerned.
This is true.
How can this be practical? How can this be wise? Should we think this through a little bit more carefully? But he was not this way. He believed in courage of faith. He didn't believe in hesitating.
Wow, that's amazing. And now I think you are very convinced of what he did.
Oh yeah, he was ahead of me in everything. Okay, yeah, he was a man ahead. Okay, ahead by many years.
Of course.
And he even used to tell me this. He would say to me, years later you will understand the things I'm doing. Years later you'll understand the things I'm saying. Okay?
Oh.
And I thought it was like a father trying to kind of convince you, pacify you, kind of thing. And it was, in a way, he was pacifying me. He changed us, all of us, the people you heard on the phone, okay, Michael and Ryan, and you're going to hear Ali, and you heard Wael, and you heard Max.
And
okay,
many more. I would say thousands of people.
Yeah. He changed all of us, and they'll all tell you the same thing, more by his actions and the courage of his actions, much more than anything.
Thank you so much. And I think we have Ellie back. Hi, Ellie.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, how are you? Can you tell us your experience with engineer Nabih?
Yes, I met Nabih when I was 19 years old.
Okay.
I did my first internship at NYA, that was 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
And Nabih was a mentor to me, a father figure in my life. He took me under his wing and taught me. I shared this at the memorial, and I'll tell you in a few words. In the engineering community, we have codes, standards, and technical resources that detail how things work and what we must do and even what we ought to do quickly. But Nabih also brought a moral code to engineering. It was rooted in Christian faith, and it was focused on the people and the communities we serve. When under Nabih's leadership, following his leadership is easy because it always feels like the right path. It's not easy to put into words, a few simple things about the character that caused him to be an effective leader. And I don't think it's ever a few simple things in a true leader that garners a big following. He really had a sophisticated character in every sense of the word. He was good technically. He had the heart behind his, the passion behind his practice. He had courage in the work he did. He had generosity and love for his community. And he had great luck.
Okay.
He did it. It was very
very beautiful words, and you're still very young. And how do you see your future in this field with engineer Nabih guidance? Did you think
Nabih's guidance in my life as an engineer has been pivotal? I really can only practice the way he taught me to practice, and in this way he lived on. There was some feedback in the line, but I'll repeat. In this way, he continues to live on through the engineers that he mentored. He had a very intuitive approach to engineering. Engineering can become very complicated, very numerical, very ethereal. You can produce thousands and thousands of pages of calculation to design a building. But Nabih could get you 90% of the way there, even further, with a pencil and a piece of paper. His concepts were intuitive, they were powerful, and yet they were simple, and that made them elegant. They were well integrated with architecture. They were so well informed by his understanding of the building industry. And all of the things you've heard about the way he was gracious with people, well connected with people. All of that is true, and all of that just made his technical skill so much more effective at advancing the people that followed him.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing these beautiful thoughts. Now, in the company under supervision of his son, John Paul, what do you wish from John Paul to continue his father's legacy? Like, if you have one request from John Paul, what do you want to say to him now?
I wouldn't need to request anything, and that's the power of Nabih's leadership. Is he instills in us the good practices that we don't need to lean on the faith of somebody behaving, in accordance to his teaching. I know John Paul is instilled with the teachings of Nabih because, like he said in the beginning of this episode, Nabih instilled his values in us. And this is just the way that we know how to practice now because of him. So, I have faith and trust that John Paul is going to follow in his father's footsteps and bring his own flavors, say, to leadership.
Of course.
Because this is the way that we've all taught.
Yeah, the reality is they don't need me to teach them anything. So just to give the audience a little bit of context, so these engineers that you're hearing from, Michael Gemmel and Ryan Wilkerson and Elio Khoury, these are some of the most talented, the leading structural engineers on the planet today, working on the world's most complex and difficult projects in the world. Things like NEOM, the line that you see on the Discovery Channel on the news, where in the Gulf they're going to build a new reimagined way of building a city, or things like the new UCSF hospital, which is probably the most complex project ever built thus far on Earth. So these are not engineers that need me to teach them anything. They know now.
I'm
we
sure
learn
they
from
need
them.
you.
Yeah.
You're very humble, like your father, I think. Your father, I know he taught them everything, and now you're very humble too. But of course, the world needs you as he needed your father, and you have very big responsibility in your shoulder, and we trust you. Thank you so much, Ellie. And we have Mr. Hani. Hello, Mr. Hani. Okay. لحد ما يجي مستر هاني. ها مستر هاني معانا؟ يس يس اهلا بيك يا فندم اتفضل.
اهلا ازيكم؟
الحمد لله.
Watching, but apparently there is a lag with the satellite. But I know Nabih since 1970.
1970.
And I know his family almost one by one. And I've seen him with Father Bichoy Kamel the first time and then the next time. I hope you're hearing me.
We can. And for the audience, this is I recognize this voice. This is the famous Hani Takla. Thank you for joining us.
Well, not really famous, maybe infamous, but I worked my first close interaction with Nabih was probably 1972, 73, when he took over the Sunday school class that I was in. And all those people now are in the 60s and early 70s. So you can imagine how long ago was that. He served with someone that became a bishop right now. Later on, I became his assistant, and in between that, an incident happened with at our ordination in the church, 1975. We were not standing next to each other, but then as the bishop was coming one by one to give us a new name while he's ordaining us, that's to the rank of a sub-deacon. He called them, because he was first, Maximo. Then he skipped the next one, he called them. And then he came to me and said to Nabih, which is the younger brother. So he always considered me, actually he used to say I'm his older brother, but in actuality I'm younger in every respect. Now, Nabih, I remember maybe around 1977 or so, I had a class at UCLA for concrete design. And he went and helped me. He came in at night for about maybe half hour. He created the entire project for me. Then I spent about 8 hours just to put all the labels on. His work was amazing, and with that project, I used to show it to people when I went to find jobs, and that's how I got the job. So he was very impactful. The most important thing I remember about him is his humility. I know he was a very important engineer, but when you talk with him, you do not feel that. He's just a normal person, and we were very close to the end. I used to call him on regular basis up until a few weeks ago. So I don't want to go on too much and take more of your time, but leave it to other people to say their respect. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Do you have any words for Mr. Hani Takwan?
Thank you for your love for my father during his life and after the fact, and thank you very much for your time, Uncle Hani, and for your kind words.
Thank you, sir, so much. Thank you so much. It's amazing to have like long-time friends like that. And everyone knew your father. They all, like, until now, they feel that, you know, they are very close friends and loving people. Thank you so much. We have Chad Hagar from Hagar Group. Hello, Chad.
Hi, Mira. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
So
John Paul, I wanted to offer my condolences on the passing of your dad.
Thank you.
I grew up at St. Mark Church in Los Angeles, and I remember him being one of the nicest people that I ever encountered at church. He was just always so sweet and kind. And, you know, this is back in the early 70s. And, you know, my life went on and I moved away and I, you know, lived in San Fernando Valley and I moved to Texas. And then I actually came back to LA. I was running a company in downtown, one of the diamond site holder companies called Cristal. And I happened to be walking on the street, and your dad approached me and he stopped me and he said, "Do you remember me?" And I looked at him and my eyes just light up because I completely remembered him. And this is probably when I was 40. So you're talking like 30 plus years after I remember him from church, and he recognized me. I don't know how, but it was just so amazing. And he started talking to me and told me, you know, my offices are in downtown. You should come and visit me. What are you doing? And so we reconnected, and I literally had no idea the magnitude of success he'd achieved in his life. But clearly he was a titan in the community and a legendary figure in the engineering world. So what a great loss for the Egyptian community, and I'm sure that you're devastated by his loss as well. And I wanted to offer my condolences on, you know, behalf of me and my family, and wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shed Hagar, and I know you will be with me in the show soon. So thank you so much for your sharing the story. Do you want to tell him anything?
Not a big loss, a big gain, a gain to be compounded upon, and you're part of that compounding by remembering how he acted and recalling it in this forum and to others that'll see this. It helps his influence to live on. So it's a gain, and it's a gain that we can compound all of us together into the future.
Correct. Thank you so much, Shed. Thank you. Okay, so let me go back for the foundation. I know he had great care about this foundation with Mr. Sharif, and Mr. Sharif, he was like a close friend to all of us. So can you tell me a little bit more?
Yeah, when I joined Nabih back in 2002, they had started the Coptic Education Foundation, and between Uncle Sharif and Nabih, they wanted to establish something. They wanted to make sure that the parents are able to help their kids to really know the system and to advance their kids to really reach higher grades and to be able to continue to go to colleges and give them all the resources that's available, whether within the CEF resources or even if they needed something private. Both of them were open to really help families. And I mean, personally, I know that Nabih had even another fund through the church to help families on a monthly basis. And other than that, privately, I had a huge list that Nabih would support on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, even before Christmas. It's completely confidential and
educational wise?
No, everything. It's like supporting families with anything, whether it's with their mortgage. USA? Yeah. Oh. International, in Canada, USA, and in Egypt. He would help. Even if you're anywhere in the world and you needed Nabih's help, all it needs is just for you to call Nabih. Something about Nabih, he was never judgmental. Like, if you really talk to him, that's it. If you cry, he's gonna cry with you. He will just believe what you tell him, and that's not very common, especially, to be honest, even in our community, this is not very common.
People can deceive you.
Yeah, sometimes when you talk with people, they say, is this really true? But Nabih was different, and that's why he was amazing. He was very smart, and he could really sense and read your eyes. If you're genuine, he's just going to sense it. And he's going to help you with all his resources, his talents. He was a gifted man, to be honest with you. He wasn't a normal man. He's not someone that you're gonna encounter.
He's man of God.
He's
Of
just
course, he was
he-
different.
Yeah, I always told him, if you love everyone that much, how much more God can really love us. I mean, he was unbelievable.
Did you see Jean Paul going same way like his mom said in the video?
I'm sure Jean Paul, Michelle, and Christy will follow their dad and mom. They're very blessed with great parents that not all the kids have that. So it's a huge blessing. You can't
And you're
just.
blessed too.
I'm very blessed. Absolutely, I'm very, very fortunate. You have no idea how many clients, friends, colleagues would call me, would email me because they know how much I'm devastated with the news. It's like as
I
if
feel joy. Why I feel joy? I know it's sad, but there is a joy somewhere.
Because we're remembering good things, right? And we're trying to make sure that they are clearly articulated so they can live on in others, so that his lessons were not worthless.
Of course.
Otherwise, what's the point of having a good person in your life?
Yes.
If you're just going to make it temporary by forgetting it. So if you can try to keep that good example in your mind, have it influence you, it's a positive. It's not a loss. It's a gain that happened to us. We just need a little perspective to zoom out. We didn't have to have this person. He didn't have to be a special person. He didn't have to act the ways he did. So if you zoom out, you can see there's a gain.
Yes.
It's only sometimes you have to grow up and be able to do things on your own. You can't have the tutor forever. So now we're taking the training wheels off, and we have to kind of see, wait a minute, the training wheels are off now. I got to think for myself. I got to steer this bike and live and act the correct way.
Exactly. You have all the tools, you have all the ideas, or you have all the memories, and you can do it on your own. Yeah.
I just want to go back to Nabih's service. Despite Nabih's extreme busy schedule with all the clients' meetings and everything, he still had time for the other stuff, for the church service. Nabih was the head of the servants. So every Friday we would send all the emails to the service. He would take the time to put the whole servants list together. He would make sure even if a servant left the church, he would still put them on the list. He would still put them on the schedule. That way no one gets upset or they feel that they're left out because they just left the church. And he would make sure to actually call them and let them know that we still would love to have you. So he still had time for that.
Okay.
As far as the service and Thanksgiving, for instance, we would do a big luncheon for the whole company. But in addition to that, he would make sure there is plenty of food for the homeless. So we would make sure same order that was done for the company, much more is done for the homeless. So Nabih really had the time to cover everything else besides his busy schedule.
Also, I see he was like a head of a member for many clubs.
Absolutely.
So he had his social life as well.
But they're not like the private clubs in that sense. They're just they're clubs for members only, where you can hold events for the company or you can go and do client meetings. So they're actually one of the most favorable place for Nabih is the California Club. He loved the California Club and the Jonathan Club. And we used to host our events on a yearly basis over there. They're
very nice.
And actually John Paul's wedding was there too. So is Michelle.
Okay. So also I see a very interesting actually place. He was working in buildings in Cedar Sinai Hospital and the USC Hospital, correct? So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, so he had a long history working on all kinds of medical facilities, including hospitals, because hospitals, if you think about it, are something that a community really relies on in the middle of a crisis like an earthquake. So it needs a higher level of structural engineering to be able to operate immediately after when there's a flood of potential patients, and actually even to operate during the event. So this was something where he was kind of a natural fit towards, where he's not bringing kind of a typical, as cheap as can be type of solutions, but really going for a higher level of performance.
Perfect. And I have a request from you because this book is very precious. Can you do it online so everyone can read it maybe?
Sure thing, we'd be happy to.
I have a copy. I don't know if you still have a copy or not because people were like taking
We actually don't have a copy.
I will give you my copy, but I have to read it online after that.
So we've actually made a website. It's just nabihyoussef.com,
Yes.
and you can see all kinds of things about him.
Yeah, nabihyoussef.com, and also you can record like your story with him.
Yeah.
It's very easy and it's very, very smart. I thank the man who created the website, and thank you for all the things and the expenses you've been doing. The funeral was amazing. Like around 7 people was in the hotel, and lots of people were watching online. So I was really amazed of everything you've done. Great job. And I wanted to ask you if people right now watching and they did not meet your father, but they heard a lot of great things. If you want to say a few words for everyone watching us to how to react and live like to be a son and daughter of God, what do you want to say?
I would say to those who knew him, the best thing you can do is to record, on that website, any experience, any story you had, any lesson, any observation. Why? Because then it lives on and influences others in a positive way. And if you didn't know him personally, you can still learn from a distance, okay? And what is the most important lesson that he taught all of us was faith, okay?
Faith.
The courage of faith to kind of think beyond, okay? When you have, let's say, a professional scenario, and you have an innovation in mind, and you know it's correct, to go ahead and have that courage of faith. If it's a spiritual matter, the same thing, and not to be scared off by any facts or circumstances. So that was really the thing. And you ask, well, how was he able to be so calm under pressure? Or how was he able to be so generous when it didn't seem to make that much wise sense? Okay? Or how was he able to remain humble with all this kind of worldly success? Okay? Because he was kind of looking past, and he had the faith to kind of not be scared off from his targets.
And I have another question. Great, thank you, great answer. I have another question. Among the challenges, again, I know your father was really patient, really have a faith. And did you ever seen him saying to be one of among 5 most famous engineer in the world? That's impossible. Did you ever hear him saying that's impossible?
Oh no, he was a person who always believed in the possible. Okay, always saw an architect's vision and saw how can we make it reality. Okay, or in any person's situation when he was mentoring. Okay, the real formula he followed was in any scenario, personal, professional, whatever it is. Okay, he would find some good that could happen, that could be realized. He would quickly identify it, and then he would build excitement around it, bring people along for the journey. And this is how he built organizations. Like you guys talk about him being the founder of CF before Uncle Sharif, was brought on board.
Yes.
How was he brought on board? By the excitement, bringing a lot of people on board. Or the same thing in NY, all the people you've heard from. Okay, his passion for structural engineering, his passion for the things that could be in structural engineering brought people on board. So he saw some good that could happen in the world or in a specific person's life, okay, and then he would communicate that vision and bring people along for that journey. So that is really the formula of how he did all these things.
It's amazing. أبونا التشالنجز في الحياة بتخوفنا، بس من المهندس نبيه بنتعلم how to be faithful we believe in God. ممكن تقول لنا لو دلوقتي احنا we need to change our life after this episode. I am sure and I'm hoping, I'm praying that everyone watching us just to learn something from Mr. Nabih. So ازاي نقدر يبقى عندنا faith like unlimited faith?
St. Paul said, I can do anything in the Lord Jesus Christ. أستطيع كل شيء في المسيح يسوع الذي يقوم. طبعا God gives everyone whatever he wants. God is helping everyone. Those who have desire of success, God help them. Some people, their success is limited. And some people, they see the road open.
بس مش كل الناس حياتها كان فيها أبونا بشوي كامل، ومش كل الناس حياتها كان فيها مهندس نبيه يوسف.
بس أغلبنا كلنا مفروض حياتنا يبقى فيها المسيح نفسه.
حقيقي.
المسيح نفسه. الآباء دولت والأمثلة الحلوة دي طبعا بتشجع.
حقيقي.
الآباء الناجحين دولت بيشجعوا، لكن المسيح هو اللي بيدي النجاح.
صحيح.
نحن نقوم ونبني.
أيوه. صحيح.
الرب يعطينا
والرب
النجاح
يعطينا
ونحن
النجاح
نقوم ونبني.
ونقوم ونبني.
الرب يعطي النجاح.
ممتاز. Very good
محتاج
answer.
الإنسان كده
Yes.
أحلام النهاردة الحياة بتاعت بكرة.
حقيقي.
الإنسان يحلم في ربنا.
صحيح. قول له يا رب إرشادك أنت. طيب احنا الويب سايت موجود nabihyoussef.com، هتلاقوا عليه lots of stories و pictures، وتقدروا تعملوا ريكورد المسج بتاعتكم او الستوري بتاعتكم وكل حاجه انت بتشوفها right؟
Yes, absolutely. We all see it. My mom sees it. Our employees see it. Everybody in the community sees it. So you are encouraging others.
Correct. وانا very proud of you ان انت بتعرف عربي كويس even though يعني you're speaking English, but he's really good in Arabic, so teach your kids Arabic. It's very important. How teaching or learning Arabic help you in your family, within your family?
When you learn a second language, you learn a second perspective. And when you're doing anything visual or conceptual or spiritual, okay, having greater perspectives will give you greater insights. So it's very important.
It's very important. سوزي عايزاكي تقولي حاجة لكل المشاهدين, everyone watching us, how to learn like practical way, simple way to learn from Mr. Nabih's life.
Nabih was very wise. He was very faithful, and he really never. He would give the people the benefit of the doubt, and this is something I cannot emphasize more, because we come from a culture that we doubt everyone.
Correct.
And Nabih was the total opposite of that. He was always giving second chances. He was always trusting. I mean, if you cry, he would sympathize with you. He would cry, like, he was very gentle. He was a very gentle human being, and we honestly miss this in our society.
Correct.
We need some kindness. So
true.
It just takes a little bit of love and kindness to honestly make it a beautiful place. And Nabih made the whole environment very joyful, that I stayed with Nabih for 22 years and I was ready to stay with him until forever, honestly. I used to drive 5 hours every day and maybe work only 6 hours, just because I never wanted to leave Nabih. And everyone would look at me, it's like, how come you're driving that much? But I was truly enjoying it, and nothing gave me joy after I had moved, because I wasn't really working with Nabih as closely as I was before. But he really made the whole environment very enjoyable, and with very few words. You don't have to say much, but people feel what you say.
Yes, you feel the energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And what do you want to say to Jean Paul right now?
You have all continue.
Of us. You have all of us.
Yes, no, Jean Paul, I'm sure he's taking very good care of the company, and he's going to continue his dad's legacy. I'm sure he's taking care of it.
Of course. Abuna, a few words for the family.
The family, although Nabih is not there, but he is with them.
Of course.
He is with them.
Actually, he's with us all right now, not with them. He's the saint. I consider him one of the saints.
He left a great legacy of humility and success. And those are very difficult to get together. We never know that he's that famous. Yes, and when I tell them congratulations, when I hear a piece of he got honored this, they made a recognition for him in this, and I tell them congratulations. God covered us. لأنه سترنا ربنا ستر علينا ده هو ربنا اللي بيدي الحاجات دي يعني he always returned the favor to God. And this is a great example of faith.
Yeah, without humiliation, without التواضع, no one will ever succeed. So I think that's one of his secrets.
Very humble man.
Very humble.
Exactly. So Jean Paul, Mr. Jean Paul, a few words for the company and the staff and everyone under your leadership right now. What do you want to say to them?
They know better than me. Many of these people worked as closely as I did with Dad, so don't be confused. The Ryan Wilkerson that you heard from's office was next door to my father's. It is till this day. Okay, worked hand in hand with him on every challenge. Okay, Michael Gummel, the other principal you heard from today, every morning would have a call with my father. Okay, so trust me when I tell you. Okay, these are people who are highly capable. Okay, who know what they're doing. Okay, and they don't need that much in the terms of training wheels at this point.
Okay, great. So, few words for your sisters.
My sisters in the family, to put everyone at ease, the family's okay. Because I'll tell you something, okay? Proximity to my father was a big blessing, okay? So,
for everyone.
So were we not kind of exposed to him quite a bit? We were. So we saw a lot of things that are very hard to describe, even to believe, okay? And so it's very hard at this point not to feel comforted after having seen the things that we've seen.
Of course. Lots. Yeah, أنا كمان عارفة الstory. Your dad knew that he's gonna leave the earth in the same day, and he told you that.
Yeah, he told us the day he was gonna die. I'm gonna die now, and he died suddenly a few hours later from something unexpected you cannot expect.
Yes.
And he told us, let's take the last picture. And he did
Wow.
so, and people argued with him and said, what are you talking about? And he revealed a couple things that, were secrets of certain people, okay, that I won't reveal here on TV. But they were surprised and said, how can you know such things? I haven't told anyone those things. I said, don't worry, they're going to be healed, those problems, okay? And he said to us, Christy, my younger sister, is going to come from Seattle, where she lives, on Saturday.
Yes.
And again, my mom said, Christy's not having a flight to LA on Saturday. We'll see her on Christmas. I said, no, Christy's coming on Saturday. And Christy did come on Saturday.
So I am sure someone came and told him that, and that means he's not just a genius, he's not just a great father and husband, but he's also a saint.
I do believe he is. I'm
He is.
hesitant to say it, okay, but in his last several years of his life, I never saw him do anything wrong, okay? He was a very odd presence, unusual person, almost like, in a way, not human in some ways, in the later phase, I would say, of his life, the last 10 years or something like that. He was operating on a different plane with a different perspective, and you couldn't shake him off of it. It didn't matter what the circumstances were. That's why I tell you, the family is at peace. We were given a big gift of the proximity to observe the person and the things that we saw.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I never heard of a living person or a person had that much success in his life and love for his family and his community and his church and the service. It's too much to believe, but I believe it and I feel it too. I need you to say a few words for those who came to the funeral. And also, His Grace Bishop Kyrillos, he wanted to call us, but I think he has something he can't call us. So he's saying, sending a comfort prayer for your family. Also, في ناس كتير جات لك في الفينرال، ممكن تقول لهم حاجة؟
So I thank everybody who, over 1,000 emails I received just the day before the funeral, and the people that came to the funeral, and the people now that would record some story for the future, okay? And I thank you really if you can either adopt or share with somebody or with the community something of some positive. Why? Because then he lives on. Then his life has meaning, okay?
Sure.
Then he's still with us. His influence is still present in our world, in our community, in our company, whatever the environment is that you're in. So that's really what I think and what I ask for.
Correct. And some of the people were in the funeral. We have the ambassador, our ambassador, Dr. Hussam Eddin Ali. He came and he was there. Also, Ambassador Rabium, he was there too. Lots of أبوناس كانوا موجودين وناس كتير قوي. فإحنا بنشكر كل الناس. إحنا بنشكرك على التعب وبشكر كمان your brother-in-law. He did amazing job. What do you want to say to him?
Yeah, he did an amazing job. Yes, he did a world-class job. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Your mom, she's a brave lady. I love her so much. She was very sweet. She's like an angel. And take care of your family.
I will. Thank
take
you
care
for
of your
good
company.
feelings.
Do you want to say anything?
No, thank you all.
Thank you so much. Abuna, do you want to say anything for the viewers, like a blessing, please?
Nabih was a great example for all of us. He did, God gave him success. He was blessed with everything he put his hands on. His ideas, all ideas were successful because God was with him.
Amin ya Buna.
So
صلي لنا يا Buna.
let us,
yes, be joyful.
be joyful,
Be joyful.
for the sight of God.
Of course. And I want you to say a few words for your family. What do you want to say for your family?
For my family, they know how much I love Nabih. They see how much I feel right now. But I want to say something to John Paul's mom, which I had told her that 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Something beautiful about Nabih too. He always give credit to God, but to also to his wife. And this is something that we also don't see sometimes in our homes. And it's just beautiful with all his accomplishments, but he's also seeing the other side. And he always said, without Isis, I would not have been able to have NYA. Without her help, I wouldn't have had 3 beautiful kids that are successful and they're educated. So he always give her credit for all the work and all the efforts that she's done. And I actually shared that with her
beautiful.
3 weeks ago, and I'm sure she'll remember our conversations. So
Absolutely.
it's just something from the wife's perspective. It's nice when you feel that, yes, I am appreciated. And she definitely has done a great job.
Of course. So we have beautiful, thank you, beautiful message.
Sure, my
Very beautiful message. So we have some pictures going like that. Can you tell us a little bit about each picture?
Sure. So this is my wedding at the California Club.
Yeah, very
a place my dad loved, as Susie mentioned. And across the street from our office, which is a big blessing these days. This is the Getty Center. This is actually my favorite restaurant in the world. Check it out one day. This is again the Getty Center.
This is the Getty Center itself, not the villa.
This is the Getty Center.
Yeah, I was there last week.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Yeah. Okay.
This is just a family picture. This is our house. This is the entranceway, which is the house he built and designed with his own kind of efforts, and really was an effort of love, I would tell you. And he was always doing something in it. This is his granddaughters.
Yes.
Nadia and Colette.
Yes.
Yeah, this is his pet, an African gray parrot with the intelligence of a 5-year-old human. That he was very close to. Yeah,
wow. I love it.
Yeah, they fed every day. Yeah. This is let's see, a family gathering, and you can see many members of the family there, including Uncle Sharif. This is, I believe, the California Club. This looks like probably a Christmas Eve dinner. This is at my house, actually. Christmas Eve gathering. This is probably Disneyland.
Wow. I love it.
You guys have good sources. I
love your mom's outfit in that picture.
This is the California Club Christmas celebration.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a beautiful. He lived a beautiful life.
He did.
Thank you for being kind with him too.
Very joyful. He was a very joyful person.
Yeah, it's very important to be kind to your parents, you guys, please.
Oh, that's true.
You always see a beautiful smile on his face all the time.
Yes, exactly. He was a very happy man, and thank you for his family, of course. Like, he made something great for the world, and you made him smile, and this is very important. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for you flew from San Francisco, and you came, Abuna, from Covina, and for you for preparing and organizing all this. He's the man behind all that success of the shows and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
For all the help.
Thank you.
Thank you. شكرا جدا اعزائنا المشاهدين. انا قلبي النهارده بجد يعني حاسه ان هو مع ان المفروض ان الموضوع فيه شيء من الحزن، بس هو مش حزن خالص. انا شايفه فرح كبير، حاسه ان هو فعلا كان موجود معانا، وحاسه كمان ان هو فعلا قديس. ربنا يحافظ عليكم. نتعلم المحبه. هو كان بيدي كتير قوي قوي. ابنه بيقول ان هو احيانا كان بيقول له بابا فين الحكمه، ان انت you give a lot without calculating where is the wisdom. بس هو كان بيقول له لا، he's very firm in his opinion و his decision، وعشان كده ربنا باركه and blessed him and blessed everyone knew him. So please have faith. ما تخافوش ابدا ابدا. Just give and you will get much more from the heaven. ربنا حافظ عليكم. وتابعوني دايما في اسأل مع ميرا. والنهارده انا حاسه فعلا مع ان كان من سنه المفروض كان يبقى معايا، هو مش موجود بس هو موجود برضو وابنه موجود، وربنا حافظ عليكم. وسلام لكل اسرته والمدام إيزيز، ربنا حافظ عليكم. واشوفكم في حلقات تانية من اسأل مع ميرا. باي باي.